Hello, hello. Today we're going to be reading 1 Nephi chapter 4 and 5, where we left off. Nephi and his brothers are trying to get these plates of brass from a wealthy guy in Jerusalem named Laban. They're not having much success so far. They've lost all of their personal property in trying to trade with him. He just kind of robbed them. And so Nephi is trying to find another way to get this done. I guess I don't want this to be like a 30-minute adventure every single time. I do want this to be like a commitment, but I don't want it to be a huge time dump for any of us. So I'll try and be quicker, and I'll just jump right into it. So, chapter 4. Nephi slays Laban at the Lord's command, and then secures the plates of brass by stratagem. Zoram chooses to join Lehi's family in the wilderness, about 600 to 592 BC. And it came to pass that I spake unto my brethren, saying, Let us go up again unto Jerusalem, and let us be faithful in keeping the commandments of the Lord. For behold, he is mightier than all the earth. Then why not mightier than Laban and his 50, yea, or even than his tens of thousands? Therefore let us go up. Let us be strong like unto Moses, for he truly spake unto the waters of the Red Sea, and they divided hither and thither. And our fathers came through out of captivity on dry ground. And the armies of Pharaoh did follow and were drowned in the waters of the Red Sea. Now behold, ye know that this is true, and ye also know that an angel hath spoken unto you. Wherefore can ye doubt? Let us go up. The Lord is able to deliver us, even as our fathers, and to destroy Laban, even as the Egyptians. Now when I had spoken these words, they were yet wroth, and did still continue to murmur. Nevertheless, they did follow me up until we came without the walls of Jerusalem. And it was by night, and I caused that they should hide themselves without the walls. And after they had hid themselves, I, Nephi, crept into the city, and went forth towards the house of Laban. And I was led by the Spirit, not knowing beforehand the things which I should do. Nevertheless, I went forth. And as I came near unto the house of Laban, I beheld a man, and he had fallen to the earth before me, for he was drunken with wine. And when I came to him, I found that it was Laban. And I beheld his sword, and I drew it forth from the sheath thereof, and the hilt thereof was of pure gold, and the workmanship thereof was exceedingly fine. And I saw that the blade thereof was of the most precious steel. And it came to pass that I was constrained by the Spirit that I should kill Laban. But I said in my heart, Never at any time have I shed the blood of man, and I shrunk, and would that I might not slay him. And the Spirit said unto me again, Behold, the Lord hath delivered him into thy hands. Yea, and I also knew that he had sought to take away mine own life. Yea, and he would not hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, and he also had taken away our property. And it came to pass that the Spirit said unto me again, Slay him, for the Lord hath delivered him into thy hands. Behold, the Lord slayeth the wicked, to bring forth his righteous purposes. It is better that one man should perish, than that a nation should dwindle and perish in unbelief. And now when I, Nephi, had heard these words, I remembered the words of the Lord, which he spake unto me in the wilderness, saying that inasmuch as thy seed shall keep my commandments, they shall prosper in the land of promise. Yea, and I also thought that they could not keep the commandments of the Lord according to the law of Moses, save they should have the law. And I also knew that the law was engraven upon the plates of brass. And again I knew that the Lord had delivered Laban into my hands for this cause, that I might obtain the records which, according to his commandments. Therefore I did obey the voice of the Spirit, and I took Laban by the hair of the head, and I smote off his head with his own sword. And after I had smitten off his head with his own sword, I took the garments of Laban, and put them upon mine own body, yea, even every whit, and I did gird on his armor about my loins. And after I had done this, I went forth unto the treasury of Laban. And as I went forth towards the treasury of Laban, behold, I saw the servant of Laban, who had the keys of the treasury. And I commanded him in the voice of Laban, that he should go with me into the treasury. And he supposed me to be his master Laban, for he beheld the garments, and also the sword girded about my loins. And he spake unto me concerning the elders of the Jews, he knowing that his master Laban had been out by night among them. And I spake unto him as if it had been Laban. And I also spake unto him that I should carry the engravings, which were upon the plates of brass, to my elder brethren, who were without the walls. And I also bade him that he should follow me. And he, supposing that I spake of the brethren of the church, and that I was truly that Laban whom I had slain, wherefore he did follow me. And he spake unto me many times concerning the elders of the Jews, as I went forth unto my brethren, who were without the walls. And it came to pass that when Laban saw me, he was exceedingly frightened, and also Lemuel and Sam. And they fled from before my presence, for they supposed it was Laban, and that he had slain me, and had sought to take away their lives also. And it came to pass that I called after them, and they did hear me, wherefore they did cease to flee from my presence. And it came to pass that when the servant of Laban beheld my brethren, he began to tremble, and he was about to flee from before me, and return to the city of Jerusalem. And now I, Nephi, being a man large in stature, and also having received much strength of the Lord, therefore I did seize upon the servant of Laban, and held him, that he should not flee. And it came to pass that I spake with him, that if he would hearken unto my words, as the Lord liveth, and as I live, even so, that if he would hearken unto our words, we would spare his life. And I spake unto him even with an oath, that he need not fear, that he should be a free man like unto us, if he would go down in the wilderness with us. And I also spake unto him, saying, Surely the Lord hath commanded us to do this thing, and shall we not be diligent in keeping the commandments of the Lord? Therefore, if thou wilt go down into the wilderness with my father, thou shalt have a place with us. And it came to pass that Zoram did take courage at the words which I spake. Now Zoram was the name of the servant. And he promised that he would go down into the wilderness unto our father. Yea, and he also made an oath unto us that he would tarry with us from that time forth. Now we were desirous that he should tarry with us for this cause, that the Jews might not know concerning our flight into the wilderness, lest they should pursue us and destroy us. And it came to pass that when Zoram had made an oath unto us, our fears did cease concerning him. And it came to pass that we took the plates of brass and the servant of Laban, and departed into the wilderness, and journeyed unto the tent of our father. This chapter has always been a favorite of mine, one, because it is basically just a Metal Gear Solid stealth mission kind of situation. And it's also extremely detailed. What's interesting about that is that this is a memory that Nephi is writing about. He wrote this section many years after. It wasn't like a day-to-day journal, like I've said before. And to have this level of detail in what he's writing about, to have like a scene-by-scene situation that he's able to play in his mind, is proof that this is something that really stuck with him. This realization where he could either do this terrifying and difficult thing, or he could refuse, and there was no way that he could do this otherwise, this obtaining of the brass plates. And so, we're never going to be commanded to kill somebody, but there will be times where we recognize that we have to make hard decisions, and it's always best, from following that example that Nephi has, that sometimes we have to just commit. And in committing, we're able to achieve our goals, as lofty as they may seem, as impossible as they may seem to other people. They are possible. Anyways, other thing that I just wanted to mention really quick, Zoram is one of my favorite characters in the Book of Mormon. He is almost never mentioned after this, except in passing. I would have loved to have him write something in here. But he's really just faced with this sudden, spontaneous, complete change of his life. As a servant of Laban, he probably saw a lot of maybe not the best life examples. Laban was a pretty nasty guy, pretty greedy, pretty selfish, and to make this choice, this split decision that would be entirely life altering, is so crazy. It's very bold. It's very scary. But he goes for it. And, we're not necessarily given those kinds of opportunities in life. So it's nice to, I guess, live through other people or something like that. It's cool to have characters like that in scripture. Anyways, let's do chapter 5. Sariah complains against Lehi. Both rejoice over the return of their sons. They offer sacrifices. The plates of brass contain writings of Moses and the prophets. The plates identify Lehi as a descendant of Joseph. Lehi prophesies concerning his seed and the preservation of the plates. About 600 to 592 BC. And it came to pass that after we had come down into the wilderness unto our father, behold, he was filled with joy, and also my mother Sariah was exceedingly glad, for she truly had mourned because of us. For she had supposed that we had perished in the wilderness, and she had complained against my father, telling him that he was a visionary man, saying, Behold, thou hast led us forth from the land of our inheritance, and my sons are no more, and we perish in the wilderness. And after this manner of language had my mother complained against my father. And it came to pass that my father spake unto her, saying, I know that I am a visionary man, for if I had not seen the things of God in a vision, I should not have known the goodness of God, but had tarried at Jerusalem, and had perished with my brethren. But behold, I have obtained a land of promise, in the which thing I do rejoice. Yea, and I know that the Lord will deliver my sons out of the hands of Laban, and bring them down again unto us in the wilderness. And after this manner of language did my father Lehi comfort my mother Sariah concerning us, while we journeyed in the wilderness up to the land of Jerusalem to obtain the record of the Jews. And when we had returned to the tent of my father, behold, their joy was full, and my mother was comforted. And she spake, saying, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath commanded my husband to flee into the wilderness. Yea, and I also know of a surety that the Lord hath protected my sons, and delivered them out of the hands of Laban, and given them power whereby they could accomplish the thing which the Lord had commanded them. And after this manner of language did she speak. And it came to pass that they did rejoice exceedingly, and did offer sacrifice and burnt offerings unto the Lord, and they gave thanks unto the God of Israel. And after they had given thanks unto the God of Israel, my father Lehi took the records which were engraven upon the plates of brass, and he did search them from the beginning. And he beheld that they did contain the 5 books of Moses, which gave an account of the creation of the world, and also of Adam and Eve, who were our first parents, and also a record of the Jews from the beginning, even down to the commencement of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, and also the prophecies of the holy prophets, from the beginning, even down to the commencement of the reign of Zedekiah, and also many prophecies which have been spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah. And it came to pass that my father Lehi also found upon the plates of brass a genealogy of his fathers, wherefore he knew that he was a descendant of Joseph, yea, even that Joseph, who was the son of Jacob, who was sold into Egypt, and who was preserved by the hand of the Lord, and that he might preserve his father Jacob and all his household from perishing with famine. And they were also led out of captivity and out of the land of Egypt by that same God who had preserved them. And thus my father Lehi did discover the genealogy of his fathers, and Laban also was a descendant of Joseph, wherefore he and his fathers had kept the records. And now when my father saw all these things, he was filled with the Spirit, and began to prophesy concerning his seed, that these plates of brass should go forth unto all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people who were of his seed. Wherefore he said that these plates of brass should never perish, neither should they be dimmed any more by time. And he prophesied many things concerning his seed. And it came to pass that thus far I and my father had kept the commandments wherewith the Lord had commanded us, and we had obtained the records which the Lord had commanded us, and searched them, and found that they were desirable, yea, even of great worth unto us, insomuch that we could preserve the commandments of the Lord unto our children. Wherefore it was wisdom in the Lord that we should carry them with us, as we journeyed in the wilderness toward the land of promise. Now, books aren't really a big deal these days. A lot of information is just delivered electronically by like videos or audio. And so we don't necessarily see the relevance and importance of them anymore. But back in the day, and I guess throughout history, books, in my opinion, are like probably the most impressive invention that humans have ever come up with. It's the closest that we'll get to a time machine, because you have people from thousands of years ago that are able to send messages and speak to these future generations, to us, to people 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. It's something that really is like unheard of from any other species. It's a skill and a talent to be able to make that system exist. But now, when it does exist, when you have that information that you're able to share, it's this incredible power, and you get to decide what you're putting into the world to thousands, to hundreds of thousands, or millions of people down the line into the future, people who will never hear your voice. And what people usually chose to put down in writing was what mattered most to them. Was scripture, was history, was genealogy, was their families. And I guess it takes a moment to really respect that and appreciate the effort and the sacrifice that went into writing back in the day. Because it's really easy to obtain these days, and it's really easy to share these days, you know. But this kind of diligence in a book, and this kind of sacrifice to preserve that and to share that, it really just represents the value that they saw in what they were sharing, because the medium that they used, books, was just so much more difficult to use and to preserve. But anyways, those are just some of my thoughts, and I'll end it there.